Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show, the Arsenal edition. This is your host, Dean, back in the driver's seat. Gabriel back in the lineup. Kiefer on the bench. What's going on, Jakob?
It's good to be back in the just yapping chair and not the hosting chair. Although I enjoyed taking it from you last week. Uh, Everything's good. I'm off Twitter now, I think officially. So follow me on Blue Sky, I guess, because I guess it's a real social media platform now. And we don't have to watch Arsenal for the next few weeks. So that's kind of nice.
Coach, is your life as joyous as Mitch's life right now?
I want to lie to you people and say yes. Yes, it is. It's way more joyous than Mitch's effect is moment. But yes, Arsenal, innit? Let's talk about Arsenal.
Let's talk about Arsenal. Do we have to? Yes, we do. That's why we're here. Mitch, Odegaard and Trossard in the lineup. How happy were you when you saw that?
Oh, fucking thrilled. It's so nice to have Martin Odegaard back. And I mean, he showed it today. He came back from this long injury that he's been out since August. And it was like he hadn't missed a step. Leading the press, had an assist in the game. It was just wonderful to have him back. It feels like someone's returned from war. It's wonderful. Wonderful to have our captain back.
Fair enough. Coach, Marino was on the bench and Declan Rice back in. He didn't play in midweek in Milan because he has what we have been told is maybe a broken toe.
Mm-hmm.
And we felt, okay, he was rested for this game. But Marino also came off at halftime in that game, partially because he got punched in the head. The way Mikel made it sound in his interview afterwards that I need him for the next game type thing. So I'm saving his legs type situation. So it's not starting to see Rice come in, an injured Rice. What do you think of that?
I think he went with his trusted generals, which is not a bad thing. But it's also, I suppose, one of the knives that that you could stick in after Arteta's back when you talk about things that he doesn't do. He doesn't deviate too much. But personally, I like it. I like when a manager is convinced of what he wants and what he thinks he knows, because then at least if it doesn't go right, he can say, do you know what? This is what I think was best. It didn't happen for me, but it's not going to deter me, kind of thing. Because more often than not, the best managers are the stubborn ones, kind of thing. So I don't blame him too much for going with trusted generals. And Rice is never going to sit out a London derby. Guys, forget about it. It's never ever happening, man. So
yeah, I mean, when you have a chance to get racially abused, even though you're white at Stamford Bridge, you can't miss out on that. You have to go and let those people in the corners yell at you when you take corners.
Exactly.
The start of the game was a bit tentative, I'd say, for both teams. The first moment of note was maybe Cole Palmer's shot. He took an early shot that Raya palmed over the bar, but after that, he didn't really do much, which is a testament to another player on the team we'll talk about later. But I would say maybe Chelsea, given that shot at least, I would say Chelsea had the better part of the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game. Yeah. Mitch, what did you make of that first 10 to 15 minutes? What would you say your explanation was for it? And Coach, once he's done, you follow up on that as well.
Yeah. I think tentative is the right word for both teams. But I agree that I think Chelsea had a little bit of a leg up to start the game. I am not really sure if I know what to point to on why that was. I think it's just kind of been a theme for us this season that we've been like a little bit of slow starters. We're not really going guns blazing to start matches like we did a couple of years ago. And I think Chelsea were going for it a little bit more, but even then it was still, like you said, tentative for both teams.
Coach?
Yeah. I think Chelsea showed a little bit of maturity because they did start pretty fast and they realized, shit, if we do this, then Arsenal will get one ball to Odegaard and we'll be in trouble, kind of things. I think they kind of they put the handbrake on a little bit, and that, I suppose, allowed us back into the game. But also, I think just with the way we spread our players across the pitch, kind of thing, it kind of made them realize quickly that if it turns to this kind of game, then we could probably kill them off pretty much in the first half. So I have a lot of respect for Maresca and for the players and how it became a little bit of a, okay, let's see what you've got, Arsenal, kind of thing. And that's how, I suppose, we showed our maturity as well. And I think overall, our midfield started to get a foothold in the game, despite us being horribly, and I mean horribly, outnumbered in midfield, like quite a few times in those open exchanges.
So I want to follow up on that last bit you mentioned, being horribly outnumbered in midfield. Does that mean that the manager perhaps made a mistake, or was this intentional that we just wanted to leave that space open?
No, I think what part of it is going back to the Declan Rice point. He's Declan Rice, an unmobile Declan Rice is kind of, you still got a good player there, but you're just not going to get what you need from him. So if he's not opening up passing lanes with his runs, kind of thing, or trying to get on the ball, drop deep, kind of thing, and bring players with him, kind of thing, you're already one down in midfield. When Chelsea automatically will drop what's his name, Cole Palmer in there, then bring one of their wingers in as well. Fake sneeze. but yeah, it was a thing where Arsenal have this thing going currently where we're still playing around midfield rather than playing through it, and Chelsea kind of forced us into that a little bit. But there was gaps here and there, and when there were gaps, Five was finding them here and there, but it wasn't really leading to much. And Odegaard, as much as I was going to praise him, like, I know he wasn't fit today, but he didn't touch the ball anywhere near as much as I wanted him to in those, especially in the first half, but in the opening exchanges for sure. It would have been nice for him to get on the ball, even just picking up from the centre backs, get back into the swing of things, let everybody, not just let his team know, but let Chelsea know, oh yeah, I'm here today, kind of thing. So that.
Yeah. I get the sense that, not that there's anyone to blame about him not touching the ball more often, but I remember moments in the first half where Saliba was on the ball. Odegaard dropped into that space that Toni Kroos would also, or Toni Kroos for like Kimmich, or Caicedo for Chelsea today. That's, I guess, the right back space essentially. Was calling for the ball, but it feels like the team has gotten so used to playing without him that he wasn't the first person they looked at, so they went back left. And that happened a couple different times, and I imagine that'll get ironed out over time. That said, I hate to give Chelsea credit for anything, but Mitch, I was really impressed by their fullback play, especially Malo Gusto. I know Gabriel Martinelli isn't in the best form, but I thought Gusto was tremendous. He to me, I mean, I don't want to go too far with it, but I'm not entirely sure that Chelsea fans should be worried about Reece James ever coming back if they have Malo Gusto. Like, he's such a good player, and he almost scored in the 12th minute. Thankfully, even though Martinelli couldn't really get the best of him going forward, I feel like he put enough pressure on him to make that header go over the bar. But even though I've essentially devoured all the meat on the bone, pause. What did you make of Chelsea's fullbacks and just their defending of our most dangerous players in general?
I know Gusto had a very good game, and I think you need a good player when your hypothetical starting right back is never available. I guess he came in at the end of the game, but even though he's their captain, he has not played very much for them. So he was very, very good. And then it really pisses me off how I think Cucurella plays really well against Saka, and I think it's that racism in him. I think that's why he's doing that. It's gotta be, right? Like, he just like gives it all against Saka, and it's really annoying. He pisses me off.
Everybody else, doesn't it?
No, it's not.
It's a joke, Lord.
Follow-up question, not related at all to the fullback play. Would you say the first half, or even the game as a whole, was boring?
See, I've just got Gabby's voice in my head calling me a sicker right now, but I enjoyed the game because of I was looking to find my team essentially. I was looking to find Arsenal, kind of thing, and I found parts of Arsenal. I found us today in parts. So, and I wanted to see how well we responded to. Look, let's make no bones about it. This Chelsea team is not the Chelsea team of the last 2 years. Not even close. Not even remotely close. And I wanted to see, after a tough month, how we respond, kind of thing. So from that perspective, I enjoyed it. I also enjoyed the tactical battle because there was quite a few changes, genuinely, even first half alone, but there was quite a few changes over the game, kind of thing, that allowed each team to get the upper hand. But I think overall, we managed to make the correct changes, even with our subs as well, to actually start dominating the game and dominating territory, kind of thing. So that, from that perspective, I enjoyed it. But for spectators, I'm sorry, I couldn't give a damn if you enjoyed it or not. I did. So.
Mitch, in the 27th minute, Martinelli was essentially, I'm not going to call it a one-on-one with the goalkeeper, but the ball basically went from the right all the way to the left. He was the free man. He takes if I'm being polite, I'd call it a tame shot at Sanchez, who basically paws it away with one hand. In that moment, were you beginning to lose faith in this guy? Because for the first time in a very long time, I found myself saying, I don't understand Martinelli anymore.
Yeah, I posted this during the game, and then he like scored like 15 minutes after. Of there was a once upon a I still think that this rings true based on how he's been playing. It was a great goal that he scores later in the game, but there was once upon a time where Martinelli was considered one of the most efficient and best finishers at Arsenal. There's a reason that people for a long time were like, he's a number 9. It's because he had that pace. He had he is a road runner, and then he's also was a very good finisher. And now my confidence in him when he gets the ball in a shooting position is zero. Nothing. He proved me wrong later in the game. Love a tactical jinx. That rules. But, you see one of those misses, and I'm bracing myself for recording later of oh, Gabby's going to go on a 15-minute rant about how Martinelli's terrible and we should have signed a winger. I'm so excited for that.
That's why she didn't come on today. I was like, between the Chelsea thing, us not winning, and certain guys not playing as well as they could have, we can't let her on. She'd be saying things that would get the podcast canceled. Coach, how on the scale of, okay, this guy's player of the century, as Klopp put it years ago, and we need to get a new winger in the summer, where are you on the Martinelli scale right now?
Oh, we absolutely need a new winger. I'm just not sure that Martinelli 100% has to be replaced, because players like Martinelli, thankfully, have memories like goldfish. So that's a good thing. The downside of having a memory like a goldfish is that you don't tend to learn from your mistakes, if that makes sense. But he is so switched on. He's so switched on when we don't have the ball, but he's still razor sharp with his movement. I think one of the key things is that it looks like a bit of instruction from Arteta for him not to really play on the shoulder as much. And I get it's because of recovery runs. But I feel like he's 23, man. He's fit enough to do it, man. I just feel like a little bit, if we were to, if we put it into car terms, if we was to let Martinelli play in gear 4 and 5 more often, we'd probably see a bit more of him. But right now, it feels like attacking wise, he's in gear 3 kind of thing. While going back towards his goal, he's always in gear 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as the old sage used to say it, he's playing with the handbrake on.
Yeah.
I remember being frustrated at several points throughout this game, especially when he would get the ball out wide, face up to Gusto, do a little shimmy, then pass it backwards.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? He would be more useful for the team right now if he was running in behind more often and being found into space, because the space was there. And he made a few of the runs that didn't get found. He doesn't get played in. And if that's an instruction, I'm utterly frustrated by it, and I hope Mikel does something about it. Mitch, well, I should almost give this a coach because he kind of ruined it for me in the chat because his stream was faster than mine. But the free kick goal, the quick thinking from Rice into Havertz. Actually, I'll give it back to Mitch. I mean, all I can take from that moment now is frustration, given the way the game ended. But what did you make of us doing something like that? Because I don't think we've done anything like that since, I think, Bayern away, when it was super late in the game and it was a frustration move for us. But this felt more thought out and it looked good.
It was so unlike us that I was not watching. It was like, we won a free kick. I'm like, cool, let me check my phone real quick. And then we put the ball in the back of the net. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? It was such a smart move by Rice. And it was such a shame that Kai was was offside, because it was a great goal too. Just the awareness to be there and then get the ball and then put it through Sanchez's legs was a great goal. And it's really a bummer that he was offsides for it. But very unlike us, because we're usually so methodical about our set pieces that you don't even see us go short on corners very often, because we usually have such a set routine for set pieces. So throwing that in every once in a while forces teams to respect that, which is great.
Well said, Mitch. Well said. Coach, if it wasn't offside, do you think the goal stands?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see. I don't. The whistle already went. I think, and I made a mistake today by not watching the game on mute, so I had to hear this. But I don't know what idiot it was, but they had a referee, an ex-referee. Obviously they always have them on the comms, and he was like, "Yeah, once the whistle goes, kind of thing, it's fair play, kind of thing." So he agreed that it should have stood if it wasn't offside, basically. My whole thing is that Arsene Wenger proposed the idea of daylight, and let's be honest here, like those are the type of goals that you want to see given because really, Wales' advantage. He had 3 men on him by the time he struck the ball past past Sanchez. So where was the actual advantage there? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Obviously,
100%.
within the current rules and context with VAR and shit like that, yeah, I get it, but that's a bit of bullshit. Let's be honest. Like, I wouldn't be mad if we concede those type of goals, but it's just like, well, you need to be a bit more on your game, genuinely, kind of thing. But we're seeing more the game being neutered more and more for like quite literal millimeters. Like, come on, guys, that's ridiculous, man. So yeah.
Yeah, it sucked, but it was to my
Correct decision,
recollection.
obviously. Yeah.
Yes, correct decision.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we're not.
Of
This is
course.
not a controversial thing at all.
Yeah.
It's just a talking point because even though Coach, being the sicko that he is, said he wasn't bored by this game, and neither was I, for the record. It wasn't very eventful in terms of goal mount action, so there just wasn't a lot to talk about. So we definitely had to talk about that. If this game ended 3-3 or something like that, we don't even talk about this at all. We just move on to the next point because we don't have time to talk about it. But we have plenty of time today because there just wasn't a lot going on. That was the last substantial thing to my mind that happened before halftime. Do either of you remember something I might be forgetting?
I suppose more. I kind of want to talk more about the adjustments that we made, especially Cole Palmer as well, because what's really interesting with Cole Palmer, and he done it against Liverpool, or he done it against Man United last week, and he started finding space on his side, on the left hand side, basically in the same pockets that Odegaard would for us, basically, and he started. I don't say picking on Party, but he realized that he does have a yard on Party, basically, and I was like, okay, that's fair enough. Like, physically, he's not there anymore, and it's a smart move, kind of thing. But then what happened is he kept getting pushed wider and wider and wider to the point where they had a graphic up where he touched the ball twice in 15 minutes, and they were both in the winger position, basically. Like, there was zero danger there, and I think what had basically happened was he stayed on that side thinking he's gonna pull number 5 out with him, basically, and number 5 just said, okay, you can have it there. We'll deal with it when you come back in field, kind of thing. And when we had the ball, basically, we started looking a bit more direct. Raya started going a bit more direct, kind of thing. But also, we started going to our wings earlier. The moment Rice would drop in, he played, like, it happened quite a few times. He played one touch pass and the ball back out to Timber. On the other side, it'll be to Ben White, basically just sucking Chelsea in pause, basically, and hitting our fullback as quickly as possible, kind of thing. And that basically allowed for Odegaard to pull one of their midfielders with him. Now, no disrespect to him, Caicedo had a good game today. He was decent, but positionally, I still look at him and I think, yeah, you haven't got a Scooby, kind of thing. And there was gaps there, but we weren't particularly brave enough. And Maresca obviously realised that, kind of thing, and that's why he essentially started packing the midfield a bit more and got Neto to drop in as much as he could, basically.
Very well said, Coach. Your focus on Cole Palmer during that little diatribe kind of reminded me that towards the end of the half, he had 2 free kicks, 2 very cheap free kicks. But Mitch, how terrified were you that we were going to go into an undeserved goal? I feel like
there was like a couple like weird like goal mouths. There was like one attack at the end of the half that like made me scared that we were gonna like go down. And it was I think it was Neto. I may not be remembering correctly, but a note on the Cole Palmer thing is I think we nullified him really well. But I do think that we maybe put a little too much focus on him, and that's kind of what created that the amount of space for Neto to have later when he scores the goal. Of like, I feel like we were pooling a lot of resources towards Cole Palmer, and it allowed someone like Neto to kind of get that space in behind, or not in behind, but in behind the midfield, in between the defense and midfield, to be able to like get in that position where he later scores.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in more detail very shortly. But I don't know. I sort of viewed it as more of a, we don't get pure man marking in today's game. I mean, we get one-to-one pressing all over the field, but we don't really get, a guy just following another guy over. Because five, he was there to get picked on. Enzo Maresca thought he could get something out of him by just stationing his best player, Cole Palmer, in and around him. But it didn't quite work out that way. I felt like he had a yard on him, but he never quite took advantage of it. He never really got into space behind number five. And as Coach mentioned earlier, he was often wide where he couldn't really cause a lot of danger. So I think the team did a pretty good job on him. I don't think Five felt the need to follow him around much. He was able to pass him off when he went into different zones, so I wasn't too worried about it. But that should do it for the first half. Second half, first thing of note was that Havertz's cut from the midweek reopened. He got booked. I don't quite know. He probably deserved it, if we're being honest, because it was taking him a while.
He was going to dick.
But I don't quite know what it was. Just weird to see a guy bleeding and get booked for bleeding. It was hilarious. Yeah. But I'm not going to knock Michael Oliver for that, or else he might give City like another 3 points out of nowhere. Anyway, let's just get straight to the goal. This goal obviously reminds us of what we've been missing for the past 6 to 7 weeks. Odegaard gets it in his usual zone on the right side of the pitch next to Saka. Turns in, crosses to the far post. Martinelli traps it. I was a little worried for a second. I was thinking he maybe should have nodded it across to Saka right away, but he didn't do that. He traps it, beats Robert Sanchez at the near post. Don't think Robert Sanchez did anything wrong there, but he got beat at the near post. Go on, Coach.
No, I put it in the group chat about 2 hours before kickoff. I said I sent a Robert Sanchez gift today, basically. And if Chelsea are going to spend another penny, it has to be on a goalkeeper before anything else. Don't you dare spend it on a forward or midfielder or defender.
They've bought 7 goalkeepers in the last 2 years.
They need to buy like 10 more because seriously, Robert Sanchez is good, absolutely good for a mistake in these kind of games. And while obviously, I'm happy and delighted that obviously Martinelli scored kind of thing, I just knew he would have something to do with us getting success today.
I want to be very clear. I'm glad you feel as if your prediction came true or whatever, but I completely disagree with what you're saying. I do not think he made any mistake there.
No, it's a good finish.
He's only a human. There's only so much space a goalkeeper can cover. If he covers the near post, he opens the far post. If he covers what he covered, he opened the near post. He just didn't get lucky enough to save it, I feel like.
So here's my thing. With near post goals kind of thing, the only time I can really give goalkeepers grace is when they roof it. Genuinely. Like that's my position on it. And people can disagree with it, that's fine. But on the goal itself, what I really enjoyed about and what I really enjoy about Odegaard just back playing for Arsenal is he's always there for the +1 pass, I call it, basically, where there's, I'm not too sure, we're not too sure if we're going to play the killer pass or not. But you know what? Odegaard has a yard or two. Let's give it to him. We know what to do next, kind of thing. And I don't think there's any negative there, to be honest, because you want your best players to be your reference point, to be the guys that you look to find shit that nobody else can find, kind of thing. So the fact that Five decided to technically turn back into danger just to give the ball to Odegaard lets you know exactly what he brings to this team. And Saka can obviously play that pass, but Saka's realised, oh shit, I don't have to play that pass anymore because guess what? Our number 8 is there, our captain is there. Let me get into a goal scoring position. But moreover, technically our best finisher on the pitch at the time, Martinelli, is also there as well. And that goal to me represents a correction of sorts, if that makes sense. So I don't know if there's a 2017, our equalising goal against Man City, there was an overload, and that's essentially what it was, an overload on the other side, basically. And that kind of goal is a coach's dream. It's so rehearsed. You play the ball into space. If the first person doesn't get it, the second person must get it. It's in the handbook in every single coach's locker room, everywhere. That's a training pitch goal. Put the ball into a dangerous area. Somebody has to follow in after the first person every time. And Odegaard is a master of that kind of pass, man.
Well said. Mitch, I guess now is the time to talk about Odegaard's overall performance. Just coming back from a long-term layoff, I'm surprised that he lasted as long as he did. the press was immediately better. Like that made me very, very happy. That made me very, very happy. But what else did you like about his general performance today?
I think that it allowed for everyone to play their correct position, or not everyone to play their correct positions, but it allowed our attacking players to be in the right spots. Like Kai played more as a center forward again today, and that was nice to see. Where it's like I like the idea of him like kind of rotating with Trossard in that kind of space of like the right half space / striker, but I don't think that it worked as nicely as it does when just Odegaard's playing there, Havertz is playing up front, which I think is just a better version of Arsenal. And so it was nice to like have that continuity again. And it was just like, it was nice to, watch that right side cook again of like Ben White making the overlap for Saka and Odegaard in the half space and stuff like that. And, he created that goal. I feel like we've been missing a lot of just creativity from open play. And so having another player so that burden's not entirely on Saka, it was very, very nice to see again today. And then you said it already, but man, the press just looked so good. It's really, really nice to have him back for that reason. Like being the biggest of just like, yeah, we're winning the ball back in like really high up positions because he's organizing the press so effectively and able to get the ball and do so well when he's on the ball as well.
Yeah, I think one of the underrated aspects of leadership on the field for any good player really is how their presence alone, even if they're not gesticulating to like, oh, move up with me or whatever, just like if I see Odegaard pressing and I'm his teammate, I kind of got to go with him because he works so hard and I see it. When I see Trossard trying his hardest to press and his legs are moving like this, like a little raccoon and shit, that's not inspiring me to give my 110%, like I'm giving 95, but that extra margin, I think, is what he brings off the ball. And I've missed it so much. It was so obvious that he improved everything around us, especially off the ball. On the ball, I think there's more to come, obviously. He just hasn't, gotten a lot of reps. Speaking of which, Coach, do you think he will play for his country during this international break?
I'll be honest with you. I'm looking at who are they playing? I'm looking at plane flights to where Norway are playing. So I'll be honest with you. I'll be there to make sure that he doesn't. Like, I'm so serious. I might be sicker because I've watched the injury back again, and it's the type of shit that happens. Like the fact that he done his ankle like that. I'm not joking. He probably might not have an injury like that again in his career. It was such a stupidly freak thing that could only happen in international break in arguably the most important season of Arsenal's recent history. Like, you can't take those risks. Don't go. Just don't go.
No, it's definitely worth it that he goes and plays 2 Nations League matches against Slovakia and Kazakhstan. I think that these are vital for his international legacy. He should retire if he doesn't play in these games because I don't think he likes his country. Where's your national pride for Norway, Coach? That's my question to you.
My national pride for Norway is, I'll be honest with you, I don't know any good Norwegian food, so there's that.
They probably got some bomb-ass fish or something, man.
You don't like pickled herring?
The hell is that? I don't know a single Norwegian dish. So, I mean, when it comes to Scandinavia in general, the only Scandinavian dish I know is like Swedish meatballs or something like that. That's about it, man. So
with that, so you heard it from the SPS pod, Mr. Soul back in or whatever the fuck your name is. Do not fuck around. We'll find you.
I'm there, bro. I'm literally like a 2-hour, 3-hour flight away, bro. It's cheap to go to Kazakhstan. It's literally like 40 quid, bro. Like, I'm fine to go. Like, I'm absolutely fine to go. So
Ryanair, baby.
Oh man, now we have to kind of fuck the vibes up a little bit and talk about Chelsea's goal. Basically, the way I remember it, I mean, we saw a great shot from Pedro Neto, who overall had a pretty decent game, especially the tactical changes that Maresca was making. He fulfilled a lot of different roles. I don't think he ever got the best of Ben White. I want to be very clear about that. But in every other aspect of his game, he was quite good. That said, I think this was mainly a failure from Arsenal to reorganize after, I don't know, was there a set piece before that?
It was a set piece.
Set piece, and people were out of position. I think I remember Saliba kind of going to the right wing to mark somebody, then trying to make his way back into the middle. But the pivot players, that being 5 and Rice, had sort of dropped into central defense to protect against the cross. and there was just that gap for a moment. And I remember the moment Enzo played that ball into Neto, I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
At that point, I was just hoping we'd get the block in, and unfortunately we didn't. Not that we're looking to blame people, but Mitch, what would you say was a failure in that sequence of play for us?
I think it's what Gabrielle yells afterwards, where it's like, "Where's the protection?" Like, because you mentioned the midfield had dropped into the back line because it was recovering from a set piece. So we didn't have a second line; it was just the back line. And so he just, as soon as Enzo plays the really nice pass to that run behind Havertz, it's not Kai's fault. He's positioned in a good spot to like saddle that pass, but like. Enzo makes a nice pass in, and then there's no one in that line of like a secondary line to where like Timber has to fully come out to try to block him. And Chelsea could have scored another way in that play of Timber lets all that space go, and then Neto finds us like one of the two guys running out wide that are in that vacated space that Timber leaves. So and it was also just a nice shot. Like he gets put in a nice position where he's got the space, but he put it right in the corner. I don't really know if there's like all that much individual blame that you can really throw on that goal.
Coach, are you feeling more or less charitable than Mitch? Who you hating on?
I'm just gonna defer to my coach, and he basically said he can't really say too much on it because it was a set piece, and obviously he knows that we failed to reorganize after that kind of thing, and that's pretty much it. But I will say it was very clever movement from Neto because he makes 2 runs there, and this is what we talk about when we say like at the elite level kind of thing. These nuances and these details get missed because most people just see, oh, you received the ball and he's taken a great shot and it's gone in, but it's like that goal just doesn't happen if he keeps running wide, and then he receives the ball from Enzo, you know, on nearer to the half space or nearer to the touchline, basically. So the fact that he's basically fooled us because we did have a line of 4 players, but he's gone to the farthest edge of it and then tucked right in to the nearest player to him and received the ball and has taken 2 touches and put in the back of the net. Like I can't be too mad at it. It was just it was a clever run from Neto, but yeah, I was really annoyed because I went to pray and I came back down and as I'm walking down, he's just received the ball and it's just flying into the back, and I'm like, what the hell has happened here? Like,
what did you pray for?
Literally, my first thought was like, hold on. Like, literally, I didn't know what was happening because we looked comfortable. Literally, I went up 5-10 minutes before and we looked fine, and then all of a sudden he's running through at our back 4. I was confused as hell, like how the game state could have changed so much. Then I saw the replay, I was like, oh, it was a set piece basically. But yeah, I'm not mad at anyone at that, to be honest. Like it was a good shot, and just more on Neto in general. I think I'm really annoyed because it seems as if, I'm not saying I wished it on him, but it seems as if that those injury worries are way behind him. Him.
I'm not wishing evil on the guy, but it's far too soon to say that. Far too soon. We've played 11 games this season, is it?
He looks sharp as fuck.
The last 3-4 seasons at Wolves, he had something go wrong. And I hope he stays healthy. I'm not even trying to hate. Like, I would have loved him at Arsenal.
Yeah.
But I think we need to see a little bit more before we give him the, okay, you're a healthy player pass. And I think it might also help that at Wolves, it's not like they were playing European football. You know? So it wasn't a workload thing, I don't think. But that said, he was their best attacker by far. So I'm pretty sure they were playing him when he wasn't really even fit sometimes. He just get more and more injured, you know. So it's good that he's on a team with a bigger squad with players that are, if not as good as him, good enough to sub in for him. And the coach doesn't feel like I gotta play this guy all the time, you know. So good luck to him unless he's seen us again. Because fuck him and fuck Enzo and fuck the other Enzo, the bald Enzo and the hairy Enzo. Fuck both of them. Mitch, subs. We had Marino come on for Rice and Trossard come on for Martinelli. What did you make of those? Did you like the changes? Do you think they were appropriate? Were they timely?
Yeah. One real thing about quick thing about the Chelsea subs, they brought on Enzo and Mudryk, and those two have got to be just like in the Hall of Fame of worst soccer player tattoos. Fucking horrible tattoos. Like, what are we doing? The Mudryk one like on his like the front of his neck is crazy. Like that one just sucks. It's so bad.
I just want to say at that point, the lesson from that, kids, is make sure you're making real money before you start getting your tattoos. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the problem. Like they got the tattoos before they got the Chelsea money, and now they got whack ass broke motherfucker tattoos when they could have rich motherfucker tattoos because they got money.
I just want to, he's got to say pause every time he looks into the mirror. Like that's a crazy thing for me. Like that's just.
Oh man, Zelensky didn't beg for all that money for this, Mudryk. You got that's horrible. Cover that shit up.
Anyway, with Arsenal subs and an actual soccer thing, Marino I thought was fine. He had some passes like he was very direct, which I liked. Like he was getting the ball and trying to move it forward, which I liked. But he also had some passes where I'm just like, well, I wish we had that one back.
Mm.
I feel like Trossard didn't touch the ball until 20 minutes after he came on. Like, I forgot he came on, and then he touched the ball like 15 minutes after he came on. And I was like, oh, shit, that's right, we brought Trossard on. And maybe I just missed some things, but I didn't. He didn't have much of an impact until later in the game. When we were, like, truly chasing the goal with, like, 10 minutes left, he made his presence known a lot more. But for the first bit, I didn't really see him out there. And then obviously the talking point at the end of the game, it comes down to Trossard of like him touching that pass and it not going on target when if he leaves it, Havertz probably scores. I don't blame Trossard for going for the ball there. Like you're making that run, you have no idea who's behind you. Yeah, try to get your foot on it, try to score it. And unfortunately, he didn't. Marino also had to play like that earlier in the game where Saka had a ball in and Marino didn't get the ball. Didn't get a foot on it. If he gets a foot on it, I think we win.
Yeah, his is forgivable because it would have been his first touch of the game.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, he literally just came on. It was right after Chelsea scored. It would have been a nice way to, make your entrance onto the pitch. But, Coach, I'll let you go longer on both of those players. Like, what did you think? Are you in agreement with Mitch? Because it seems as if he wasn't impressed with either one of them.
I'll be honest with you. Like, I got some shit from you guys talking about I haven't seen Marino play well yet. I think this cameo by far was the best he's looked for Arsenal. Like, there was so much to like about it. The calmness on the ball. He kept on consistently drawing 2-3 players to him.
Pause real quick.
Yeah.
I just want to, I went back and listened to that podcast. Yeah. But because you didn't, in your defense, you didn't say, oh, he was great or anything like that. You were very reserved. I was the one hyping him, but you were reserved throughout. So I'll give you credit for knowing what you said. So fair is there. But I will say, this calmness is essentially what you described as him thinking he has too much time and space on the ball, like he's in La Liga or something. Yeah. It's the same thing. He's just sort of gotten used to where he is.
Yeah. But today's context, because, while I feel like if it was a basketball game, Arsenal probably could have won the game, I'm very grateful for the fact that he didn't allow for that, because they've got burning pace in transition, so we could easily be in danger. But the amount of times he kept on drawing players to him, and he wasn't even looking for a foul, he was just looking for the next exit pass kind of thing, and he kept on finding it consistently. Like, I'm going to go back and watch the second half, especially for him, but I can think of something like 4 or 5 different instances where it feels as if Chelsea had 3 players come towards him and he's found the exit pass straight away kind of thing, forwards, not back to his own goal, but forward. So there's that. The second thing with him as well is he genuinely seems, I feel as if now he physically, we'll know he's big and he's going to win his duels, but I genuinely feel like physically he looks like he trusts himself to go in and just smash someone and get the ball as well, basically, which is essentially, not to discredit Arteta, but I feel like that's a big part of why he bought him, to be honest, like to keep that momentum in the final third. Like the ball yeah, the ball gets recycled and you've got a big 6'3" guy to just smash you and just keep the momentum going kind of thing. So I'll be honest with you, I was very pleased with him. Like I would, I don't have really a bad thing to say with him. Trossard, however, it's hilarious because I wasn't mad at him today either. This is what I want from Trossard. Come off the bench and be busy and cause problems. And why he didn't cause a whole lot of problems, the intention was there. You could see he was playing with a bit of fire in his belly. Now, things didn't quite come off for him kind of thing, but he managed to get the ball in competition and manufacture 2. It was at least 1 block shot, I want to say. kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I want Trossard to be. I'm sorry, I can't deal with him starting for us. I just can't. Like that experiment for me is done. And I'm not saying he needs to go. I'm just saying this version of Leandro Trossard is just is fantastic for Arsenal, should I say. It's what we need. A reliable finisher with both feet kind of thing that can come on and be clever and get into those clever spaces against tired legs. And all he needs is a half yard, basically. But from the start, it's too much to ask from him, honestly.
I think so.
Yeah,
He's not supposed to be going up against fullbacks with their full battery. Like,
man, it's just
you have no PMP. What's the point of this? Like those are probably the most athletic players on the field. Most fullbacks are the most athletic guys on their team. So to have Trossard trying to go up against them, like, you can do that clever shit, but that's only going to get you so far.
Yeah.
And if he's tired when they're tired, then what's the point?
What's the point? Yeah.
Bring him in fresh against tired fullbacks. Matter of fact, I think Reece James did well against him because you mentioned the block shot, and Reece James, that was the one action that Reece James got involved in that I recall from the game. Outside of just not falling apart. Every time he plays a game and doesn't go off injured, I'm so happy for him.
You got to give him a round of applause. I reckon he should have it written into his contract that for every match he plays and doesn't get injured, he should get like a 3K bonus, basically. Seriously, like it's that bad, guys. That bad.
It is really bad. We're gonna wrap up our review of the game with two chances that sort of resembled each other from either side of the box. The first one in the 87th, Odegaard played Jesus in down the right. He was probably slightly offside, but his cross went to Merino, who sort of flicked it. Robert Sanchez saves it. Trossard blasts the rebound over the bar. Then from the other side, Mitch already mentioned this. Saliba makes a brave run, towards the end of the game. On the left side, Odegaard plays him in. He crosses it. Trossard deflects it away from Kai Havertz. Game over. Which one of those did you find more frustrating, Mitch?
If the Trossard one wasn't offsides, it would have been that one easily. So I'm gonna go with the other, like the one at the very, very end of the game, because I've been like, it's been a minute since we've won, so like I've been wanting just some good feeling around the Arsenal, but also just like some last minute winner dopamine would have been fucking incredible. To like if Kai had put that away, like if Trossard misses the ball and it goes just right to Kai and Kai wins the game in the 96th minute, like last touch of the game. I'd be jumping up and down. I'd be running around my house. It would have been fucking phenomenal. It would have restored the feeling, and that would have been great.
Yeah, probably. Coach, I guess we didn't really get a chance to talk about Raya because, again, it's weird because we keep conceding goals, but I still don't have the feeling that our defense is bad. But I do think something notable happened today that we'd be remiss not to mention, and that's the fact that Urian Timber, I believe, completed 90 minutes for the first time since the club. What did you make of him? What did you make of Raya's performance in a game where he conceded a goal? And what did you make of just the defense in general? Because during our season preview, we were both kind of, we maybe didn't mention it, but we were both kind of hoping that we could go for that Chelsea record. Fewest goals conceded. We're probably not going to get that anymore. Yeah. But what are you making of the defense in general? This lack of stability, conceding goals, like, is this a long-term worry for us, or do you expect it to be fixed when we get back from the break?
So if you look at the last 3 goals we've conceded, one was a wonder cross and a really good header. You look at where he crossed the ball from, you kind of want him to cross the ball from there. Anthony Gordon won't put in a better ball this season, so that one's gone. Second one was a bullshit penalty in the Premier League that's not given. And the other one was a shot from 25 yards, basically, after a set piece where we didn't reorganize. So not once has our actual defenders lost their individual jewels, or we've been played in behind, from a failed offside trap, or we've just been, there's been a mistake from our defenders kind of thing in general. It's just, like I said before in the last one, when shit is going against you, it's these kind of things, these kind of goals and shit can happen kind of thing. I will say though, because of our lack of stability with the amount of chopping and changing we've had to do, it's going to take a little bit of time, and hopefully the international break can help fix it. It's going to take a little bit of time for these players to find rhythm with themselves again in general. The one person I feel like who hasn't suffered from this chopping and changing shit is David Raya. I think David Raya today was great. He was one of our best players. He's so calm, and his claiming of crosses is so I think it's underrated, even though we know that's arguably one of his best qualities. it's so underrated. Chelsea put in some really good balls there. I know the Gusto chance, he kind of flapped it a little bit, but in general, he collected everything. And like Chelsea are getting into good positions, kind of thing, putting the ball in. And he's like, nope, that's your momentum gone. Like so, and it's nice because it literally sucks the air, sucks the the belief out of them a little bit. Oh, are we going to cross it? He's just going to come and get it again, kind of thing. Now they got to think of a different way to attack us, kind of thing. And it's just nice to have that. And then he's kicking as well, and the fact that he started play not started, but he's he was playing as our third centre back away from home again. The bravery from him, to help, find those passing lanes and always be an option and shit, and not panic too much. And when he went long with purpose. Just really, really pleased with David Raya. Genuinely, I feel like he's just, if we're talking about our defensive unit, he's been our best player in defense, I think, this season. In regards to Timber, I will never ever have a bad word to say about him. Genuinely, like I'm thinking of all the ways I can get the money to build as many orphanages in Curacao. Like genuinely, he's just always so consistent. But also, it's the bravery that he shows on the ball as well. There was a few flick-ons. He's making the run in behind Kai Havertz, guys, and he did it last week against Newcastle as well. But when he comes to facing up his man in defense, I just don't bother. I don't bother worrying. I'm wasting time worrying about what he's going to do 1v1. But yeah, I will say though, I think playing back on his stronger side, I think we'll get even more out of him. But playing left back, we're not handicapped with him, which is probably the best compliment I can play him. So
yeah, that's probably where he's going to have to get most of his minutes because I quite enjoy Ben White. I really do. I have no complaints about Ben White outside of his 1v1s against Rashford. He's good with me. That's literally the only guy that bothers me when Ben White is out there. Otherwise, he's solid against everybody. Mitch, let's zoom out a bit. Liverpool at the top of the table right now. They're 9 points ahead of us. City are the guys we thought we'd be. I mean, we're chasing them too, but we thought they'd be at the top, and they're 5 points ahead of us going into the break. We're currently fourth on the table behind the team we drew with today. Where are you on Arsenal's title chances at this point in the season?
I don't think we're out of it by any means. I don't even think this is necessarily a bad result in a vacuum. I think just like with a string of bad results going into this game, there was a little bit more pressure around it where it's like, sucks not going to win going into the international break. But we're getting healthy. And I think that's going to help us. City have definitely shown that they are not the juggernaut that they have been in the last few seasons. So I think that they're vulnerable. And I just like I was talking, I feel like I'm going to say the same thing I said about Liverpool last year, which is like I still don't know if they just like have all of it. I think they may have like a little bit of magic in them in the second half of the season to try to there's a good chance that it's maybe Salah's and Trent's like last season for Liverpool. And Van Dijk, like all of their contracts are expiring at the end of the year. There's like a good chance that this is a full end of an era. Like the Klopp era ended last year, and then a whole lot of other players going out the door. And there may be some good feeling ending on a high of just like that's not like a soccer take. That's not like tactically they're like this. It's just like the vibes might be right for them. But I think that in my mind they're more easily catchable than like if it was flipped and we were 5 behind Liverpool and 9 behind City, I'd be fucking worried. But because it's like this, I still feel like there's a chance.
Well said. I don't find anything to disagree with there. But Coach, do you have? I watch Liverpool most weeks because I'm obsessed with all of this shit, and they don't give off that inevitability, that indomitableness. Like against Villa the other day, Villa should have taken them. On another day with slightly better finishing, or Kelleher's hand is here instead of here. That's a draw or that's a loss for Liverpool. Mitch says, and I agree that we're in better shape because they're the ones out front right now. Yeah. But who would you consider to be favorites then out of them and City ahead of us at the moment?
I'll be honest with you, I'm going to shock you guys. It's Liverpool. Like, I might be the most downcast I've been about the title this entire season. Like, in this precise moment, like, genuinely, as you're asking me, sorry guys, but I don't think it's happening. And I'm not saying that because I just don't think we can go on a run, because I know Arteta is sick enough to put us on a stupid 20-game unbeaten one with like 18 wins, 19 wins, something. I don't know. But my thing is while Liverpool have played Villa, they've played us, they've played Chelsea kind of thing. They lost to Nottingham Forest. Okay, cool, fair enough. You have to play what's in front of you. And I just have to be honest. If Arsenal in the position Liverpool were playing Liverpool's fixtures kind of thing, I would be singing from the rooftop saying we're winning the league, it's over, it's done kind of thing. We're not over, it's over, but I'm saying, yeah, we're definitely winning the league kind of thing. And it just looks to me as if while Salah is fit, while Van Dijk and Konate are fit, bearing in mind Alisson hasn't been fit, Keller is a great goalkeeper kind of thing. Like, that's more than enough to beat the rest of the league easily. Salah, Trent, VVD, Konate, that's enough. Still don't like the midfield, by the way, but that's enough. Like, that's it. Like, that is so much quality, and they've got it in key areas of the pitch, in defense, well, in their defensive box and their attacking box. You give Salah a chance in a game for Liverpool, he's putting it away. He's that type of player kind of thing, and they can keep teams out. Like, that's just the reality of it. They haven't had any real defensive instability. Their one weakness in their defense, obviously, is Robertson, but they're doing more than enough. I don't feel like they're edging it, they're edging games kind of thing. Like, they're creating a bunch of shots themselves kind of thing. But if there is hope for Arsenal, it's the fact that Liverpool simply have to keep winning. Like, they just have to keep winning, because Arsenal are coming. City, even though without Rodri, will be coming kind of thing. If they don't keep winning, yeah, it gets a bit tight. And my biggest hope for Arsenal is to go into the Christmas break being no more than 6 points behind Liverpool. That's the best I can hope for right now. If we're somewhere within 6 points behind Liverpool going into Christmas, then I can start hoping. But for now, like, I'll be honest, I'm not optimistic for it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I don't know that I can be optimistic when you're 9 points behind a team, but
yeah.
My optimism comes from watching the team. When I watch Liverpool, I just see so many ways they can be beat. Like, I don't watch them and think they're better than Arsenal. I don't think they're better than City. I don't even really think they're better than Chelsea, but they've been consistent and the schedule has helped them. So, like you said, you can only play who's in front of you, and I would so have loved to trade schedules with them, but we've knocked out a lot of our worst away trips. The only bad away trip we got left really is Anfield.
Anfield and Old Trafford, to be honest. Old Trafford is never going to be.
Whatever. I'm not giving them that power. Fuck them. But fellas, I know the mood's a little somber, but I'm excited for what we're going to look like after the international break. I think people are getting healthy. This should have been 3 points, but ended up being 1. I think on the balance of the game, Arsenal probably deserved to steal this one. I think, but we didn't quite get it, and that's okay. But I think the run is coming. I think the bad part of the season has passed. I think Liverpool has a bad part of the season to come. City, Pep has lost 4 straight games for the first time in his career. I'm sure he'll recover from it some kind of way, but we got to see it first. Like, we haven't seen this before, so he's got to show us. So we'll see what happens there. And as for anybody else in the mix, I don't care.
Yeah. I'll be honest in regards to City and Pep. Get ready for the most tactical, innovative bullshit you're going to ever see in your life. Like, genuinely.
Oh, like John Stone's becoming a full-on DM?
No, for real. Like, you're going to see Rico Lewis playing as a number 10 or number 8, guys. Like, not just as part of their what do you call it? Their 3-2-3-1 kind of shit. No. I'm talking about, like, he's going to be a number 8 for them. Like, he's going to do some bullshit. He's obviously going to go to market in January. That's a given kind of thing. But Pep is going to spend this entire international break thinking of, how can I make sure that we don't have to defend as much kind of thing? Does that mean I put even more technical players on the pitch? Because let's be honest, City can't defend right now. They can't. And the best way for them to get through this is just score goals kind of thing. But I feel like teams are looking at it and thinking, let's just stay in it against City and they'll give us something. And that's a worry. So he's going to probably over-egg it and just put his most technical side out and make sure the City keep the ball as much as possible.
Like, listen, whatever solution he comes up with, if it involves Kyle Walker playing minutes, it's not going to work. That pervert is done. And Mitch, I apologize for whatever is going on with your Broncos. It's not looking good on your face. I apologize. That looks bad. But on that note, we should get out of here. For Mitch and Coach, this has been Dean. Guys, tell the people peace. Oh my God, Mitch is dying.
The Broncos just lost on missed a game-winning field goal. I want to die. No.
No, at least Arsenal drew today. Everybody, we out.
Well, in 2024.
Take your shirt off.